true, tested way to do business. Entrepreneurs that do it the right way, and like she said, it's like 1%. They get lazy. They don't have the right team. Most cases, they don't have the right team around them. Actually control everything and not own it. Because if you don't own it, the tax benefits are tremendous. Remember, I said in the beginning, you're going to learn how to make money, keep money, invest money. That's part of the key, right? You got to go make sales to make the money, yes. But when you're talking about controlling it, do you think Rockefeller, do you think any of the major politicians, and I'm not going to throw names, own anything? No, they don't. Different corporations, different companies, different entities, they have lawyers and accountants, and they've got a group of people supporting their cause, and they don't own nothing. I don't know, Loral, I actually gave myself a raise this year. I'm going to make 50 grand. So I think I might beat you by like 2 grand, right? Aren't you at 48?
No, I'm actually, because Logan is officially going to Congress and going out on his own.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm super proud he hung up his cleats and going to some intelligence committee congressional internship. So long story is 23, will be 24 this year. And I'm going to give myself a demotion to about 38,000 right now.
Wow.
Now I made 48. We're between 36 and 38,000.
So chew on that.
Loral, don't make hardly any money. Loral, don't own a phone. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own hardly anything. My companies do, and they control it. And it's a way of living that honestly, I think, and I've been so passionate about this, that this really should be taught in 6th or 7th grade as an alternative to what we're going to show you coming soon. So this morning, the way that Millionaire Intensive works is we talk about the original work, which was written in 2005. And then we bring in the finale, which just became, by the way, Randy, I don't know if you know this one, and Steve, we should put it on that initial slide a little bolder. This is the 2022 Personal Finance Book of the Year by Reader's Choice. Can't get any better than that. So even though these are all 5 New York Times, we never were the Personal Finance Book of the Year for Reader's Choice, which is very difficult to get. So super excited. So somewhere between here and 5 other books and this one, we're going to show you the path. And we have not only created it, we have succeeded fabulous at it. And our goal is to get you there. So how many of you in the chat want to be millionaires? Number one. And that's, so put in how you may, just like me, yes, something like that. And then what I want you to follow with, and Omar, Laura, Terry, Chrissy, Lavelle, the team that's helped support, really watch their goals and watch those that are yours. So I'll introduce you to Omar and Jeff and Laura in a moment. They are a lead strategist. You've all been assigned to one of them. So what is your now 2023 goal? What do you want? So clearly you want, to be a millionaire and change your life, and you're here for that. But how many of you have a big goal? Like, what is your financial new income goal for 2023? How much you're going to make? And adults, it better be more than 10,000 a month. It better be, because anything less than 10, you're going to struggle with enough money to build the kind of company that you need, to hire the teams, to do the things that we're going to talk about. And don't be in fantasy island. If you've never made 10, don't tell me you want $1 million. 10 to 100 in this year, as long as you, everything we say is very doable. But if you've never made 10 a month, don't give me some fantasy island like 500 or 10 million. And mainly the reason I say that, it's not that you can't get there. You don't have enough systems and teams to get there. And I think that's what we're going to show you this morning. So this morning is about the Millionaire Intensive. And then we're going to transition to talk about databases, which is like one of the greatest assets you'll ever build. Bob Proctor said when I was 21 years old, he said, Loral, save every name. At that point, it's name, phone number, and address. And then, as you got into the later 90s, then it was grab an email. And now it's grab every social channel. So grab as much content as you can and build the database and monetize it, and you'll win with the biggest, amounts. And we've done this now, literally as a millionaire in 1999. I started building a database in 1996. Formally was my first formal act. But before that, I ran on spreadsheets literally since I was 21 years old. So I have not missed this, and it's critical. Then we're going to shift gears. Some of a new team is going to come on board. Randy's going to, Jason are going to, well, Jason will be throughout the day, but Thomas and Adam will be joining, and we're going to talk about a marketplace. How do you put a business together, prices together? How do you do pre-orders? How do you do pre-sales? How do you make fast cash? Like today would be the day you're all going to make money. So if you didn't know you were coming for that, well, welcome. This is a money-making activity, which is it's called the Millionaire Intensive. So the first few hours is all about this. Then we switch gears because everyone, even us as multimillionaires, still drive making cash, because all new cash helps you build and buy new assets. And so this is about investing, making and investing, not making and spending. We'll moderate your spending. Actually, we're never going to moderate, because I'm not a live between in your means. We're going to fix your spending. I call it forecasting. Instead of you paying for this little thing called the phone, or these courses, or your time, or my books, or your vehicles, or all your office supplies, your company's going to do it. Okay, so we're going to really fix today. Anything else, Randy, you want to add to that? And Jason, welcome. Glad you're here with us today.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. But I want everybody to understand that you're not going to have all the information in the next 15 minutes. There is a sequence to the delivery of the information for you to understand. I would encourage you to have a notepad with some notes to write some things down, because there is a sequence. I also want to encourage all of you over today in that realm of beginning to control it, not own it. Make sure you have an appointment with one of the strategists. They're a free strategist. They're exactly that, a strategist. They're there to help you identify the next place for you to put your energy, for you to put your effort, and get those things going. So keep all that in mind, and just buckle up. We're about to have a good day. I don't know. Does Jason can add something?
Yeah, I'll add
Jason, wave your hand so they can see you. He's our one of our insurance specialists right there. Kind of wave your hand so they can see who's talking. There you go. Hello.
Sorry about that.
It's good.
This idea of owning nothing and controlling everything really is a long-term thinking. Recently, we were introduced in our community to Tom Ziegler. He came to a couple of our live events, and the guy's amazing, Zig Ziglar's son. And I was reading his book, and he talks about that arrogance is short-term thinking, and humility is long-term thinking. And yes, there's a sequence to becoming a millionaire, and a long-term thinking perspective is we want to own nothing and control everything. For the fact that people get taxed, corporations make money. And we're going to show you all that. So we're going to get into some details. Yes, it's going to be all short-term thinking of 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what we need to do. I'm with Randy. Buckle up. Let's have fun. Let's go.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Next slide. Interested versus committed. So there's 3 terms we're going to teach you throughout the course of the day: being committed, jumping, and being decided, living decided. It's a very specific terms. You've probably heard them. Our context is a little bit different. So Randy, talk about interested versus committed. I will turn that to you with saying committed, in my mind, is at all costs. You get that goal. And that is not at all costs to hurt other people. That is, you're going to get out of your way and get some help for the first time. So many of you have this, I'll figure it out by myself mentality. Why? When some of us collectively as a community have probably figured out most of your problems, why would you sit there and struggle or hope the internet research you find, which is the bathroom wall and anybody can write anything, and it's extremely corrupt out here on this internet? Why would you trust that versus results, experience, credibility, referrals? So Randy, talk about your version of interested versus committed, because I find most of the world's interested.
Yeah, most of the world is interested in. This is actually quite an interesting conversation. And if you're just interested, you'll have an interesting experience. It's kind of like watching a good movie. Interesting, great, off you go. Committed is very different. Committed means you've identified the reason you're doing all of this. Now, this is not we're not going to watch The Secret. We're not at Landmark Forum. We're not here to help you discover why your big mission in the world is. That's up to you. This is the how. You'll know when you're committed if you have a burning desire and you're willing to do anything legal ethical, moral to accomplish those goals. If you're not, then it becomes interesting. So take the responsibility on yourself and say, what has to be true for me to want to do this? What has to be true for me to engage in this community? How do I participate on a bigger level? What do I need to do? Interesting means you're in, you're out, you're taking phone calls, you're texting, you're playing a video game, you're doing all kinds of other stuff. It's interesting, but you're going to miss a lot of stuff. Committed means you're like, all right, I'm going to give this a day. I'm going to commit. I'm going to get my tail right in here, turn off all my distractions, and I'm going to learn. I'm going to commit to learning. And at the end of this, I'm going to determine whether or not this thing I've committed to is something I can commit to. This commitment isn't a single day. Commitment is a lifestyle. It's a lifetime. We have developers for our software company all over the world. Guess who's on the phone with them at 4:00 in the morning, making sure that their outline for the day is set, everything's ready to go. We are. When it's 8:00 at night in California, guess who's on the phone doing the stuff? We are, the people leading the companies. And so you have to understand this commitment thing is not an 8 to 5, punch the clock, go home, get your latte, take your 20-minute break. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. I got to get a break. No, that ain't how it works. You got to be prepared to work. But if you really want it, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. So interested, like the content's fascinating. Committed means you're going to do whatever it takes to achieve the thing you claim you want. I can't tell you what to commit to. I can't tell you what your income goal should be. You have to commit to that. Once you do, off to the races. It'll just fall in place.
Yep.
Sorry, Laura, I got a little long-winded there.
No, it's totally good. Go ahead, Jason.
Laura, everybody could take a collective pat on their back. There's 400 people, 400 plus people that said they were interested in this event. There's 100 that are here. So those that are here already have demonstrated by your actions, you're at least somewhat committed. Let's keep going.
Yep. And what we find, so here's another question for the chat. Interested would mean that you say you're an entrepreneur, you give it a few hours a day when it emotionally occurs to you. Committed is your business is open 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. I mean, it would really irritate you if you went to the grocery store and they just decided emotionally to not open that day, or to Starbucks, wherever you go, right? So how committed are you to really running a business? Because running a business, living corporate life, is critical. Now, you can still have an employee job, that's fine, but to activate a corporate life, you have to have a company that we're going to teach you how to do. Scott's going to be here in a moment. We have amazing experts. We do not want you to go to the LegalZoom or the .coms or any of them. You're going to push some buttons that you have nobody facilitating your right answer, and you could set up the wrong company. So we'll get to that again. Like Randy said, there's a very strategic way we're going to get to what we need to get to for you. So how many of you are really committed to being entrepreneurs? Like, really? Good.
That's good.
Good. All right, next slide. Who is this for? Who is this not for? The reason we put this up here is some of you are very higher level. You are already making $500,000, million, 2 million. That doesn't mean this event isn't for you. What we find with longer standing entrepreneurs who are incorporated and have some of the structures set up, that you forget a lot of times to have what I call fast cash. So fast cash is that thing that we're going to teach you today. How do you get that really database building offer on the internet? Like, we have crushed it. We are making majority of our leads and revenue come from online. I know, Randy, like you said, people are going back out. And I just got back from the American coaches, the coaches conference of the United States. So all NCAA coaches, 10,000 coaches. I spoke to the wives. Next year we'll speak to all of them. And again, sold the book, right? Quick. This was about getting names, phone numbers, and emails as fast as we could, right? Fast cash is something small to get somebody in your database, not in your following, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, not your following, into a database. So I would say, who's it for? I'm going to stretch and say everyone. But I want to speak to those that are higher level that have some of this set up. Get immediately into your strat and have a strategy session. We'll talk about those coming up just in the next few slides. Who is it? Not for lazy people who don't want their life to change, not willing to change, have every excuse why you're right, we're wrong. I don't know. I've got 1996. So however many years, I'm going to say over 25 years of making millionaires. So, and pretty damn good at it. And we're the only team that's integrated. So you're going to find teams that have specialized trainings and specialized things. And I know you're going to say, well, I might be coaching with somebody. That's fine. They're teaching you one specialized thing. They're not teaching you an integrated foundation. In fact, we call it, this was our brand we took out to the coaches group, right? Which is, you'll love this, Randy. Financial fitness trainers, right? Because we're going to get you in shape. Some of you have entrepreneurial muscles. You're just really, really out of shape in building entrepreneurial muscles to build a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-figure business. So that's what I just want to speak to that a little bit. And if you feel like you're not getting or didn't really understand, I mean, we're really clear. This is a overview of a Millionaire Intensive, a database, how to build and monetize like quickly, how to build a database, and then how to create an offer for a very quick database move. I mean, we're doing anywhere between 1,000 to 1,600 new leads a month straight out of social media into a database. And that's what a lot of you don't do. You have followers, you don't have clients or leads in a database you can monetize. How many of you know that you need to build a proper database? You might have like an autoresponder kind of database, but how many of you say yes if you know that you need what I've just talked about? Yeah, and you don't know. A lot of you don't know. And you might think you have one, and we'll see.
Your email list is not a proper database, by the way.
Yeah, that's just cute. That's just cute. All right, let's go to the next slide. Those of you who are committed and stay the entire day. Now, the entire day in our world, if you see, is 10 to 4. So at least 10 to 4, which is most of the time I'm here live teaching with you. And then actually starting today, because we moved this to a one-day event, around actually 3:15, we're going to move you into a marketplace. So you need to stay at least 10 to 4. And then you need to have 2 strategy sessions. So all of you have been assigned to someone, Laura, Omar, or Jeff. In the office, you've probably talked to Kristen, Chrissy, Lavelle, or Terry. So if none of those names ring a bell and you do not have an appointment, put no in the chat. So Chrissy, Lavelle, Terry, get ready for that. And if you put no, what we're going to do is the strategist that has you, been assigned to you, is going to be looking for you and then helping you get an appointment. So while we do this for just a moment, because I'll introduce Laura, Omar, and Jeff if they're still all here. But what you get by attending today, having 2 sessions, even if you've had them before, have them again. Now, Steve and a few of you who've just signed in, hi, but welcome, by the way. You're fine if you don't have another one, but you are welcome, you know, who brought you into the community. So that's fine. And Fran, you can start with Chrissy, but she will move you then to a strategist. So you've all had someone, they've texted you, emailed you, called you somehow. And by attending, filling out your student profile, you get this high value swag bag. So it's my high ticket sales or training. It's Randy teaching you how to do a less than 4-hour business plan, and Martha on entrepreneurial leadership. These are only big table conversations, so you can't even buy them. And then, and Steve, you are welcome. Yeah, Steve, you are going to talk to Damon because you're already in. So he just got back and we'll make sure he gets an appointment with you right away. In addition, you're all going to get my library. You're going to express of your power, which is how do you change your thinking with money. I'm going to call it a classic because Bob is passed now. And then you're getting our real estate program and any tours coming up. So really high value. And like Randy and Steve said, if you need to go to the restroom, grab something, just, do this really quick like that. Click the mute button, but don't disconnect from the event. It makes it harder to bring you back in if you disconnect from the event. So with that, let's meet the team. Laura, are you out there? So go ahead and move the next slide, Steve.
Absolutely.
So I want to just explain. So Chrissy, Kristen, Lavelle, and Terry, who work in our office, they're the first ones typically on an engagement with you. So you come to Ask Loral, you've come to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, New Year, New You, however you found us, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. They're usually your first phone call to welcome you, understand what you want, and then they assign you to a senior strategist, which is Laura, Omar, or Jeff, who then really do go to the next slide, a gap analysis. They're going to help understand in your profile, where are you, what do you want, and how can we help accelerate your income and assets? That's all based on the Millionaire Maker book. So Laura, tell me a little bit about what you do. You've been with me for decades now as we move into this.
Well, thanks for that announcement, how old I am. At any rate, what I will do is literally talk about where you are right now, like financially, what's going on. Obviously, you wouldn't be following Loral in any capacity unless you wanted to enhance or improve. And we're going to talk through that. And then we're going to talk about where you want to be. And my whole role is to plug you in to this team in the best way that we can support and help you. And like Laurel said, 2 decades with her and absolutely passionate about helping you all create wealth. Thanks, Laurel.
Thank you. And Omar, are you out there so they can get introduced to you? And I just put in the chat, call the office or email Terry. They will make sure that you have someone. We know you have someone. And yes, if you please, if you have a business partner, thank you for that. Toshiba, I think is your name. Yes, if you have a business partner or a spouse, I mean, unless you have a prenuptial, you are legally bound once you entered marriage. So not that they have to both agree. We've had a lot of like one couple, one part of the relationship comes, the other silently supports and, you know, keeps a job or doing whatever they're doing. But if you do have someone here that you're going to make a decision with, make sure they're with the same person. You don't want to separate those appointments. All right. Thank you, Laura. And is Omar here? Andrew?
Yes, I'm right here. Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the wealth strategist here. I'm looking forward to talk to all my folks. I've had a couple of meetings with you guys, but those that haven't, I'm going to be sending you a direct chat message so we could get on my calendar and we can have a wealth strategy session. Okay.
Perfect. And is Jeff here?
I am here, everybody. So, hey, I just say that if I have the privilege of being your strategist, I've already emailed you, I've texted you, as well as I'm doing the direct chat. So all I can say is, man, make this an amazing year. You have the best mentor possible in Loral. You guys have got to just make it happen. This is the year to do it. So I look forward to speaking with you. Let's figure out where you're at, figure out where you want to go, and then we're going to get you there. So have a blessed day. Enjoy the events. And I look forward to speaking to all of you that I have the privilege to work with. Thanks.
Thank you. And Andrew, just want to introduce you. Andrew helps put the organization of this event together. Got the cowboy hat on usually where I am, Mr. Montana. There he is.
Howdy.
So you see a lot of the folks have not found their strat. So let's reach out, call Terry or email Terry, call the office. Let's get you set up with them immediately. And then, Franz, you said you're going through a divorce right now. That's fine. There's a lot of strategies on actually how to save money through those lovely things, where you're not going to get scathed or do anything wrong in the transition of it. And that includes setting up corporations and how we help you set. So we have helped people get divorced, get married, handle deaths, have kids, have their kids employed, you name it. We've traveled. Randy and I have literally been on all 6 continents but Antarctica with this work. So we know it works worldwide. We have obviously a very, very intimate and aggressive. I say aggressive just because there's a lot in America. We have a pretty great group in Canada, meaning just not a lot of volume, but the teams are extraordinary. Same with Australia, same with the UK, some in South Africa, but a lot of movement during COVID has happened. And a lot of those folks have moved to either Scotland, UK, or Canada and got the heck out. So there's been a lot of movement with our teams, but it doesn't matter. We're going to help you find who you need to do the work that you need to get done. And notice that our goal setting, it's in income and assets, and that includes good debt. There is good debt. Like, for example, my son is home just for about a week before he transitions to his next chapter of his life. And we were going through like powers of attorney and trusts and all of those things. And yesterday was a huge afternoon kind of conversation about, what good debt we don't pay off when I pass. Like when you have debt at 2% and 3%, why would you pay it off? It generationally can transition, so you can keep the arbitrage and the spread of the money that's making money. So good debt is an asset. And a lot of you've listened to like I'm going to call it just the financial services world. You've listened to Susie Orman or Dave Ramsey or Dave Bach or whoever the heck you're listening to that says you need to be debt free. Nothing is further from the truth. Wealthy people are not debt free. We have great debt, highly and properly leveraged. So if you're not watching any of that, go to Loral Langemeier, the Millionaire Maker. It's my YouTube channel. I'm there 5 days a week. That whole channel is designed to help you and your family understand financial literacy. It's critical. So let's go to the next slide and talk about this next concept. So first of all, we're asking that you be committed. And we know you don't know half of the things that you need to know, which is why we're here. We're inviting you to join our community. And those of you who come all the way up and want to work with me, you get this lovely thing. I'm more of a mentor than a coach. Mentor, the distinction is I have one heck of a Rolodex. I help you avoid big costly errors. I help move through things much faster. How I think about things is you like with somebody, and Chrissy, I know you're out there and they have this land problem and they put a house on it. I want to solve that problem. I know how to solve that problem, and it's going to take one investor and about 2 months, and they're going to own everything that they needed to own. How we think about things and how we get to things is very non-traditional, and that doesn't mean it's illegal. It's different, and it's different. Because you're just not taught this. The normal mainstream, I call it mainstream math. Mainstream math is get a job, stay debt free, hope to God the whole thing works out, right? Millionaire math is leverage what you can, make as much money as you can, instead of make and spend a lifestyle, make and spend for assets. So it's very different. Steve Harvey has a great video about this next concept. Says every successful person in this world has jumped. So let's show a video, and then Randy and Jason will come back in and have a conversation about that.
Okay, here's the deal. If you want to be successful, here's the thing you have to do. You have to jump. There is no way around it. You have to jump. Every successful person has jumped. You got to jump. You got to take a leap of faith. You got to dash off that cliff, and you got to jump out there as far as you can. Now, a lot of times you stand on the cliff of life and you see other people soaring by, gliding down like a bird flying through the air. You know, they going over to the south of France. You see them on a boat somewhere. You see their family vacationing here, their family vacationing there. You see them dressing like this. You see them in New York, then you see them in London. They flying by. You know why? It's because their parachute open. But the only way to get your parachute to open so you can soar, you got to jump. Now here's the problem. Here's the problem, my friends. When you jump, I can assure you one thing. You listening? I promise you this. Your parachute will not open right away. No, that's the fear part. I promise you your parachute will not open right away. You're gonna hit them sides of them rocks. You're gonna tear your back out on them cliffs. You're gonna cut yourself. You're gonna get wounded. You're gonna get some tears and stuff like that. But eventually, the parachute will open and you'll be soaring. But here's the other caveat. Let me teach you this right here. If you do not jump, I promise you one thing. Your parachute will never open. So you're safe, but you'll never soar. You got to jump. I got you.
So critical, so critical. So I love that. And what the part I like the most, and Randy, Jason, I'll have you guys speak to what parts you like the most in that, is that you're gonna get some bruises. They're not failures. I think there's so many of you have success and failure issues. You're scared to be successful, you're scared to fail, so you do nothing in the between. Just know you're gonna get a little bumps and bruises. I call it capacity. I call it getting some muscles around this. You're going to get some money muscles. You're going to start learning how do you make decisions strategically the more experience you have, right? Some of you are scared to death of litigation. When I was my first lawsuit of life, I was pretty young. It was super exciting. And my greatest mentor, multimillionaire, the guy who actually taught all the Rich Dad, like the entire brand, he said, you know, welcome to business, Loral. Grant Cardone just saw him on a video say the same thing. If you haven't been sued yet, you're not playing big enough. Now I'm not going out and encouraging it, but some of you get so scared. You say, oh my God, Loral has litigation. So does anyone. The sharks each have over 100 100 cases of litigation. Like I'm in one, whoopee doopie, like no big deal. I've had 21 in my lifetime. That's pretty dang good for doing what I do, because I am actually not a talker, I'm a walker. I do real estate actively. I love projects. I do water rights. I do mineral rights. I do gas and oil rights. I own marijuana grow here in Nevada. I own a Ford dealer. Actually, it's not a Ford dealership. We sold Ford. We own a car dealership, the Black Hole, restaurants, hair salons, you name it, been there. And I don't say that braggingly. I'm saying lean in. A lot of you are so scared to get bumped or bruised. And I love the video because, you know, you might tear your back out falling down that cliff, but you know what? You're going to stand with millions in your pocket because you're going to go through it. And you have to walk through some learning. You just can't have, like, I don't have pixie dust. And you just, and we're not a park and pray team. We're not doing it for you. We're teaching you to fish. So then for you, you teach your children and your generations for the rest of their life how to be successful and stay successful. And it's not because I'm Loral Langemeier, as a farm girl from Nebraska, for God's sakes. If I can figure this out, y'all can figure this out, right? Randy didn't grow up with money. I don't believe Jason grew up with money. I don't think any of us really did. I think we all figured this out by jumping in and being mentored properly. Randy, Jason?
Yeah. I mean, you said it all right there, Laurel. That's the whole idea. There is become really good at monkey see, monkey do, and you'll be fine. If you try to reinvent it, try to recreate it, you could get there. Think this is the ultimate shortcut. And it's still not a shortcut, but it's still not short, but it's a shortcut to figuring it all out yourself. And so as you learn about what's going on today and some of these things, again, this is and you can change the slide, Steve. This is literally the how. It is the how. It is the absolute how. I can't say it anymore. It's not the why. It's not even the what. It's the how. It's literally how to do this and in the sequence it needs to be done. And if you want to do it yourself and shortcut it and try different methodologies and get 18 different mentors from 9 different places, that's the results you're going to get. So as you're watching everything you're going to see play out over the rest of the day, know that it's put in the sequence it's put in for a reason. Number one, it works. It works. Number two, the people that are in the individual roles, whether it's Scott with entities, Jason with insurance, that everyone's got their role and they're really good at it. Yeah. And so that's the power of what you're finding here as you go through this. So don't think about, I need to be motivated. I need to, sit on the couch and chant Maserati and put a picture of a Maserati on the wall and then the Maserati will show up. It's not how it works. Hate to tell you, I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade, but that's not how it works. So that's where we're at. And then now it's about, I think we're about to jump into the blueprint stuff.
The guts of it. And the reason I became the how is I was the master distributor for the cash flow game for almost 5 years. So left Chevron, left a corporate job, jumped, followed a Japanese guy in a game around. Nobody knew who Kiyosaki was. Rich Dad, Poor Dad didn't really hit the map until the end of 97, 98. So I was in 96 when I was just helping, figure this out. But everyone, how many of you played the cash flow game, the Robert Kiyosaki game? So the answer that you usually come up with at the end is, now how do I do it? So having done that for 5 years, I just knew I wanted to be the how. So once I hit my millionaire status in real estate, then gas and oil, then I was really doing real estate tours and real estate training. And then McGraw-Hill came to me and said, you need to write a book about how you do these millionaires. I'm like, I don't know. People just follow me around. I tell them what to do. They do it. It all works. And they said, no, you need to write a book. I said, I don't have a blueprint for this game. And they said, well, make one up. So this is what then 2005 I spent with a beautiful, Goldman Sachs, KPMG, Columbia, Cornell grad who was high finance, could understand money. And I said, this is what I do. Help me put it into what looks like a format that people can understand. And we nailed it, as you all know. So super excited that you were here. And how to is down to the nitty gritty behaviorally. How do you start paying bills properly inside a company? I'm going to invite Scott in to have that conversation shortly. I think Michelle asked above in a question, how do I own rights with stocks? Absolutely not. So I can own gas and oil stocks. Why own that when I can actually own the wellhead, the capital working interest, which is an 85% depreciation schedule? Like own the well, not the stock. Own the real estate, not the REIT. Own, right? I mean, own the rights, the real rights. And it's a game changer. It's a game changer on how you'll invest and how fast you'll make money. So here's how I want you to think about it, right? So if you look at this next slide, this is what we call the big table. So the big table is actually, sorry about that. Yep, I love that slide. We'll get to that one next. I'll come back to that because I do want to just remind you, like, this game is different. It's not difficult. It's difficult as hell if you do not have a team and a mentor and a coach and a guidance like a team. So if you think about our big table, this is what it is. You're at the head of your table. This is your table. You will start, depending on what you've done to yourself, with diversity, sequencing, and changing the way you're organized. And those are words I've come up with because you're not sequenced enough. And too many of you diversify. One, I don't even call it diversify. You put too much money back in your operating company, number one. Number two, you park your money with stockbroker, pray to God that's all going to work out in a volatile market that is not done rock and rolling, right? And Miranda, you could go into this forever. It is not done. It is not at the bottom. Cryptos are a disaster in a lot of ways. And yes, they're working. I mean, of course, there's some of you who know how to options trade and niche some of this. My son's one of them, has done an extraordinary job this year in a very volatile market, doing well with it. But sequencing means do the right thing at the right time. Corporate structure is living corporate life. Due diligence and money rules, Randy and I will beat you over the head on that. iFlip is how we invest in the stock market. So Randy, if you want to put, or Steve, if you want to put our link, this will get you into a software that Randy actually runs the company. Many of us are investors in, but that's how we put money in the market because they're called smart folios. They take you out, put you back in, so you actually don't get killed in these 30 point drops, these 22-point drops. We don't lose that kind of money because we're more strategic. Oil and gas for some of you is going to be required because of a tax strategy. Aviation is going to be really, really coming back in spades. They don't do 100% depreciation. They do 80 now this year, brand new law. Like I'm telling you, that we know so much about every one of these teams and systems. If you notice the biggest box, it's how many of you would say yes, that what you're missing just based on the brief conversation we've had so far, or what you've read or heard on YouTube or TikTok or wherever you've heard me. How many of you know that your lack of teams and lack of systems is your problem, is a huge part of your problem? It's probably not the only problem. You probably have a bunch of other ones. But how many of you would just say, absolutely, teams and systems it's critical? You cannot do this alone. Insurance, got to get fixed. If you want some of these other things like licensing versus franchising, all these things we talk about. So anything money is in our wheelhouse, and we have experts to help you. So you go to the next slide. Again, like you said, this is our NFT. We still have NFTs available, Steve. Andrew, if you want to put them, the 15,000, the big ones are gone. The Majestics are gone, but we still have the other Nobles, Royals, and Courageous Lions. You can still get in the NFT business with us. And yes, we owe a lot of you who have an NFT more training on how to get into the market. Again, a lot of you are waiting for us to guide you to it. We will guide you, but you have to push the buttons. This is on the blockchain. In fact, it reminds me, I've got to go talk to someone who thinks they can get a refund on their NFT. It's like, it doesn't work that way. This is on the blockchain, and legal blockchains are locked. So next thing is our guide for today. They have askloral.com/TMI guide. You have a bunch of my eBooks. You have some forms. You have what's called a T-sheet. So a T-sheet is how you're going to network here. Instead of trying to copy the chat, because that's actually an FTC violation, you can't do it. It's better to just write Randy, his phone number, what's he an expert in, and then you're going to data enter it into a spreadsheet to load it into your database. Steve and I'll be talking about that as we head into that a little bit. And if you want to get into it, Ty, we know how to do it. We've launched 4 of them. Now we need to get them in the market so we create more sellability of them. Today's not the best day to do that, though. Not a hot market right now. So make sure you keynote, like write this down somewhere, because you're going to need order forms, funnel guides. There's all sorts of resources you're going to need out on this page. And then those of you who want to replay, one last thing, and then we're going to jump right into how to live corporate life. The replay is $47. So you get not only this replay, you get several events, because we're never the same. We don't ever just rinse and repeat. Randy and I don't read a script. We just know this stuff. You get, again, our library, fast cash. You get another ticket back to the marketplace, so you can share with somebody that you know that needs to be here. Teach your kids the value of money is 3 hours of me talking about how do you really get your kids engaged with money, especially in this mental health and, COVID, where everybody's really shut down. A lot of the kids are really shut down, a lot going on in that, huge problems for that. And yes, this is all for Canada. I've been married to a Canadian. So I know the Canadian law. I've done millions and millions of dollars of business up there. There's not a country or town or county this does not work in. We do teach it in American terms, just because we can move faster. I know Canadian terms as fast as I know American terms. Again, you get the skill set analyzer. Reading rooms are 8 hours of understanding how to build a CM as a cash machine, put more cash in your pocket, another 8 hours. There's tons, thousands of dollars of stuff. And the reason I think you should have the replay the most in the VIP is to share it with those 5 people that you plan on spending the most time with, because you are a sum of those 5 people. I know, Jason, you guys have a lot to say about that too. What Randy and I've seen across the world, you do not trade up your friends. Why are you still with the same 5 that make the same amount of money, doing the same complaining, same whining? Employees hang out with employees, entrepreneurs hang out with entrepreneurs. So if you're an employee and you want to live this life, you need to start being in our community, hanging in this conversation and learn this. Like, I would bet you could listen to this replay 5 times, and every time you'll hear something different in it. Randy or Jason, anyone to add to that? And we're
100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
Absolutely, Laurel. And well, you said something on December 14th. I wrote it down in my journal here that says your environment will always win. And I have thought about that almost every day since then. It is so correct. It doesn't matter what your goals are, what your intentions are, and it may not even be how much you're committed. Your environment is going to win out. So you want to up level, you need to up level your environment. And this table community that a couple of slides ago, the big table, the community, that is your ability and opportunity to up level your environment. And that will help you by default win, if you will.
Yeah.
It's also not a magic wand. Let's clear that up. It doesn't happen in 2 minutes. When I joined this community, I had literally just sold my first company to a publicly traded company. And I joined this community thinking I knew a whole lot. And, I knew some things, but I didn't know a whole lot. Then that was in 2006. I grew that company. It basically got acquired. My next company got acquired by a big software company. I became an executive there for a few years, learned the software industry, got the knowledge and the expertise of the industry specific, combined with the knowledge of business construction and setup that I have learned here, and put that together to start iFlip, which is one of the fastest growing software companies in the world. And we are, we make it so we learn messaging, we learn language. I learned that it's really important for people to avert risk. So why wouldn't we build it up so that you didn't have to worry about the stock market last year? How many people would love to not have to even worry about their finances? Of course, everybody. But where does that come from? How do you learn that stuff? It's this community. It's all the pieces. I work with Jason. I work with Scott. I work with all the people that are in this community. I work with Steve. It goes, people come and go, yes, but at the same time, foundationally, it's the group of people that will be successful. This environment, this atmosphere will be successful. And you look, everybody's still standing through COVID, still here. And so that's what you guys have to really understand and pay attention to what's going on and know that it's not a magic wand. You got work to do. But the work's going to be spelled out for you. So
Yep.
all this stuff is insane. And back to you, Laurel.
Insanely good. A few of you said, if I'm in the big table, do I still need to do VIP? Yes, you do. So you do have a lot of these other things, but you don't have the replays. The replays are required. And once you have the VIP and you have the link from a prior event, like we will be adding today's event back up there. So once you have it, you will have access to the future ones too. I know Kathy, a few of you asked about that. So just because you're on the table, you don't get this. You do get fast cash and can be in fast cash for as long and as much as you need. Now let's go to the next slide, because I think this one is critical, because this is really, if you think about like, so here's my journey of teaching people to become millionaires. When I was 17 years old, I was given the book Think and Grow Rich. I think a lot of you know that. And as I was given that book, I just remember reading it. In fact, I got an original gold kind of layered, gold paged, beautiful original for Logan's graduation. So I just gave it to him this like last few days, and just putting it really into our family legacy, not only reading, but there's ways of thinking in there, there's ways of behaving. But I just remember at 17 years old, farm girl from Nebraska, reading Think and Grow Rich, going, oh my God, like people think like this, like there's another world of how this actually can work. And hence then started my journey of studying millionaires. Why is it so difficult for people to become a millionaire? And so few women do it. Only 3% of you women ever become millionaires. You support a man to do it, but you don't go for it yourself. And you all, how many of you will take a poll across the board? How many of you all are here because you really have something that is amazing that you could serve other people with, that you could actually, like, you're good at what you do and you could serve other people. So then my question is, why are you playing this game so damn small? If you want to help people, you've got to go big. You need a big database. You need thousands, if not tens of thousands. If you've watched our social channels grow, we have hundreds and thousands, collectively millions that we touch a week. So if you want to change things, you've got to go big. You can't say, well, I have to stay in my little tiny bucket and I can only work a